Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on out there in the restaurant front. I don't care how good an economy is, restaurants are always kind of a tough business for people to get into. And so I wonder about it, especially in an economy like this. I'm talking to a gentleman who works a lot directly with the restaurant industry. He is with a company called Gravity Payments, and he helps making sure that they keep making your pancakes or whatever it is you like to purchase. Dan, let's get started with, first of all, Dan Price. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about Gravity Payments.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Kevin, and thanks for having me on. I'm the founder and CEO of Gravity Payments. Gravity Payments is about 12 years old, and we're one of the largest processors of Visa and MasterCard and other types of electronic payments for restaurants and other types of businesses.
Okay. What percentage of your clientele are restaurants?
Oh, probably about 30 or 35%. So it's the single biggest vertical that we work with, though it still is under 50%.
Mm-hmm. And you're nationwide?
We are nationwide. We have local support in about 8 different markets where we have feet on the street that can go in and help the restaurants and help them figure out their point of sale system and anything else they want to know. And we're continuing to grow till we have that local support nationwide, and we do have clients nationwide.
Okay. Tell me about what's happening in your observation with the restaurant industry.
Well, from what we're seeing, the restaurants that are doing really well, and, we do process the transactions so we can kind of tell who's doing well and who isn't. And the restaurants that are doing really well are creating a great experience for people in an approachable way. It's not so much just about the food, but it's more about the experience of the food. So, the trend is for bistro-style dining, open kitchen, and really like an experience where you can feel a part of the chef's process, of the cook's process, high quality ingredients, come into your table and something that you can really enjoy, not only from an eating experience, but kind of like seeing it prepared and seeing it coming to you.
Very interesting. And so what is your overall attitude in terms of optimism about its future? What do you think? I'm fairly agnostic on, in terms of macroeconomic projections or whatnot, but I do think that no matter what, there will be opportunities for the best operators out there to really succeed. Where we come in is a lot of restaurants, they have a hard time managing efficiency because they want to create that great guest experience. And there are so many different vendors to manage. There's so many different processes to manage. And the owner can really get bogged down in those processes and forget what it's really all about, which is the guest experience. So, we hope that when people choose Gravity Payments, they're thinking about trust and thinking about, who will be able to help them so that they can focus on what they're best at, which is creating that great guest experience. Okay. And what are some of the things you do? It sounds like you try to go from just a vendor that keeps cash flow going, which is obviously very crucial, to actually a trusted advisor. How do they see you in that role?
Well, we had to start out with transparency because if you want somebody to trust you, you got to tell them the truth. And, people always ask me, like, how do you gain trust? And they think there's some, like, magic secret formula or some trick. The key is no tricks. You just have to tell people everything of the truth, and you have to do so in a really extreme way to gain the trust because there's so much noise. So for us, when we started out, and still to this day, we actually showed all of our clients our profit and loss statement on them. We're very open with our business practices, and we are working in an industry that is very opaque and hard to understand. The other thing that we did to go along with that was we literally charge about a third of what our competitors charge on the margin for processing the transaction. And so that in and of itself shows trust because, a lot of restaurants do look at what we do in terms of credit card processing as a commodity. And so they're very price sensitive, and they should be because, if they can add 0.1% or 0.2% to their bottom line, that could be very good for their business. The third thing that we did was we actually started literally partnering with some of our clients, and we've actually invested in about 300 of our restaurant clients.
and help them grow to second locations, third locations. And what that's done is, even though it's a tiny percentage of our 10,000 customers, it's created raving fans in our communities where we actually, cared enough about that customer, and we set aside about 10% of all of our revenue to invest back into our customers and help them grow.
That's a very clever idea. Obviously, it's obviously has a certain altruistic value, but then again, it's not altruistic at all, is it?
Well, there is some altruism there, but it's very much a win-win, and that's what we believe in, is creating those win-win relationships. And if a competitor comes in and tries to displace us or whatnot, they'll find that we're partnered up with a lot of the restaurants and retail businesses in the area.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Very, very interesting. So, 2013, what kind of year is it going to be for your clients?
Not bad at all. In terms of the credit card revenue that they're doing year over year, we're seeing about 7% more this year than what we saw last year from the same store sales type numbers. So I'm optimistic. That having been said, there could be some external force like we saw in 2008, where the restaurant didn't have anything to do with the financial crisis. They didn't cause it, but they, across the board had about a 20% revenue decrease in terms of independently run restaurants when it happened. And so I always advise my restaurant clients that they really need to have a worst-case scenario budget on hand and be prepared for a 20% decrease at any given time, and have a plan ready where they could still, not only survive but hopefully thrive and continue to grow after they did see that decrease.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Dan Price has been our guest, CEO and co-founder of Gravity Payments, and you can learn more about them at Gravity. That's Gravity, one of those words that should be easy to spell, but we don't use very often. Payments.com. That's gravitypayments.com. Dan, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Hey, I'm going to put you on hold for just a minute. I want to chat with you right after this segment. I want to tell the audience out there, I had a great show with you today. It was fantastic. Look forward to being with you tomorrow for another Price of Business.